Bienvenidos a todos.
Gracias.
Quiero recordarles, si necesitan interpretación en español, pueden ir aquí afuera, está Alan, pueden hablar con Alan para poder recibir ese servicio. I was just letting the crowd know if they need interpretation, we have a table outside that can help them with that interpretation. So, can I get a good, Lynn, loud, good evening?
Good evening. Good evening.
That's great. So, my name is Faustina Cuevas, and I proudly serve as the city's first Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. And I also have the honor, thank you. I also have the honor to serve as Mayor Nicholson's senior advisor. But the role I hold dearest is being a Lynner. East Lynner, to be exact. Go Bulldogs! I am so honored to be your MC this evening, and I want to thank you all for your presence. I also want to thank our City Council for hosting us in our council chambers. We appreciate you so much. This evening, we look forward to sharing with you where we've been and where we're headed, and more importantly, how we're ready to continue working for and with you. Before we get there, we have a special guest with us this evening, our former neighbor, former mayor of Salem, and our Lieutenant Governor, Honorable Kim Driscoll. Kim Driscoll is the 73rd Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts. Together, Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll are the first all-woman executive team. That's right. First all-woman executive team to lead Massachusetts. Since taking office, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll has spearheaded several administration priorities and initiatives. Exemplified by her extensive and successful career in local government, Driscoll has served as notable prominent for the economic development of Massachusetts cities and towns and serves as a liaison for municipalities across the state. This commitment also includes leadership on tackling the state's housing crisis and improving the state's public education policy. Driscoll also chairs the Governor's Council to address sexual assault, domestic violence, and human trafficking, the Seaport Economic Council, and co-chairs the STEM Advisory Council. Prior to Beacon Hill, Driscoll served for 17 years as the mayor of Salem and is a proud graduate of Salem State University. Let's give a warm welcome to Lieutenant Governor, a loud Lynn welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening and Happy New Year. I'm so thrilled to be here this afternoon, I guess late evening, to both celebrate the amazing work that's going on in Lynn and to offer a real gratitude for the work that's underway, the work that you're going to be doing over the next several years. I'm also glad because I'm like 10 minutes from my house, right? So it's terrific to be able to end the night in the place I get to sleep every day, right next door. And I just also am grateful to be here. As many of you know, my family, my father in particular, grew up in Lynn. He's a proud West Lynner on Winnipecket Ave. Spent lots of time there. Sorry, Faustina, he's not an East Lynner, but spent lots of quality time there, both with my grandparents. And we didn't live in Massachusetts when I was growing up because he was in the Navy as a career Navy man. We moved around a lot, born in Hawaii. I came back here to go to college and settled in Salem, but I've always thought as Lynn as the place next door that I know the best. So it's with real gratitude that I'm here to acknowledge the amazing work happening in local government in this amazing city. And I say that as somebody, as you all know, was a former mayor of a small community next door that often spent time in the region really being challenged and seeing the opportunity to work together. Had the good fortune to work with former Mayor Tom McGee on a number of initiatives. And I do feel like this region, the North Shore, we're always in each other's backyards. You live one place, you might work someplace else, you eat someplace else. We mix and mingle pretty well. And I'm so thrilled to see the progress we're making in the region, in this community. And if you're fortunate enough to really love where you live, and those of us who are in local government, like you love where you live, to be able to influence what happens there, that's the joy of serving local government, whether it's as mayor. I think being mayor is the hardest job in the world, and it's also the greatest job in the world if you really appreciate being able to influence your community. And those of us who serve in local government, whether it's a counselor or a school committee member, it truly is a labor of love. You are not doing it for the money. You're doing it because you care about your community. If everybody kind of stands up and takes their turn at leadership and finds a way to give back, it really can make for a very special place to live, to grow, and to thrive. And no place is seeing more promise than the city of Lynn right now. You have an amazing legislative delegation. I see Rep. Armini here. I saw Rep. Cahill earlier, Rep. Reed. You also have Senator Creighton and others who really look out for you on Beacon Hill. You have a terrific delegation who doesn't let us forget what the needs are, helps us celebrate the wins, and ensures that we're thinking about ways we can continue to uplift and empower the work that all of you are doing every single day. I also want to acknowledge Sheriff Coppinger, no stranger to Lynn at all, himself, and someone who I've had the good fortune to work with and continue to in this new role that he has. And as I said, if you are able to be in a position to help lead your community, it really is a gift. I always thought of my role, and I still do in this role, as we're stewards, right? We're going to be here for a certain amount of time. How do we leave the place better than we found it? And I think Mayor Nicholson shares that same commitment to getting it right, doing the hard stuff. He understands what makes a city great and what it needs to keep thriving, and understands the need to really tackle some of the problems of today. We just had a snowstorm. I do not miss constituent services after a snowstorm. I can tell you that. Lots of snow experts in every community. But it's more than just about who's picking up the trash and who's making sure the snow gets plowed. Those are important. Those are the have-tos. Those are the need-tos. But it's also about what's the vision we're creating? What's the North Star that's leading our community? How are we getting everybody aligned towards that North Star, whether it's counselors, state legislative delegation, the private sector industry, those institutions. I saw Bill Heineman here from North Shore Community College, making sure we're all rowing the boat in the same direction towards that North Star for things, frankly, that don't get done overnight, that are hard and messy and take time and take disagreement sometimes. That happens in this chamber, like in many legislative bodies. But ultimately, doing the decisions that lead to, a safer, stronger, thriving community. If you think about the branch of government you rely on the most in your everyday lives, there's no doubt it's local government. Educating your kids, keeping your neighborhood safe, investing in those places you make memory, whether it's a seaside beach or your favorite park, ensuring that you're thinking about a thriving economy. How do you grow jobs? How do you have a vibrant city? And I know that Mayor Nicholson spends a lot of time, along with all of you, really crafting what does it mean? What does it mean to be living, working, going to school, growing old with dignity, aging in place with dignity and respect in the city of Lynn? And how do you make the investments to ensure you're thinking about the now while also thinking about what's next? You have an opportunity to directly impact every single person in this community by showing up, by working hard, by your commitment to improving the lives that people live here. As state government, I'm fortunate to serve alongside Governor Healy. We are the first all-female duo. We also played a little bit of hoop. We both came from working-class backgrounds. We know what it means to make a difference in your community, and we think it's a great privilege to be able to shift resources and shape policies, but most importantly, to ensure that we're uplifting and empowering what all of you are doing every single day, the work you are trying to lead on. And that is our job in state government. That's why I'm proud to be here to celebrate some of these major milestones that the City of Lynn and the mayor have really been working on over the last couple of years. So pumped that we've been able to reestablish the Lynn Ferry as someone who was a community that had a ferry. Thank you, Tom, for your help and effort on the board of the MBTA, and thank you, Jared, for continuing to push. You're a waterfront community, a coastal community, and there's no better way to get into Boston than through that harbor. So making that happen was key. We know that the mayor has been busy not only working here in Lynn, but serving in statewide roles as a member of the state's Housing Advisory Council. We were in Lynn not too long ago talking about ways we can increase home ownership with programs at Mass Housing Partnership. Together, we've been able to push for new economic development tools through Mass Works and Housing Works programs. And as someone who was a former mayor of a gateway city is where it is happening. Some of our most vulnerable residents, places that used to be affordable, we need to ensure that we're putting our thumb on the scale to develop the type of housing for the people who are going to work every day and are happy to do it, but just want a shot at home ownership or just want a shot at being able to afford the rent. We know that's part of our job, and we'll have the policies and we'll shape the resources, but the housing, it gets built in communities, just like Lynn. So putting your hand up to say we're going to do our part, we're going to make sure that more people are able to win as part of that housing. The mayor's just been excellent in helping shape what we're trying to do at the local level, and I really want to call that out because housing matters. Not having enough of it matters. And saying no, that's a policy too. Saying yes, we're going to build it, we're going to make sure more of it's affordable, and we're going to help create that thriving downtown that we know that my father talked about, shoulder to shoulder down Union Street, right? Nobody could get by. It was busy and hustling. We know that's possible, that's feasible. And when you have a thriving community and you have the housing that people can afford, that's what happens. In 2025, as we approach the next 2 years, they're just through our mid-year. We're going to continue to support and work with the mayor to ensure that these partnerships are not only good for all cities and towns, but particularly good for our thriving gateway cities. You know, we recently announced an $8 billion plan to invest in transportation over the next 10 years. That's $8 billion with a B. I hope that shows people in this room that we are not kicking cans down the road. We're not afraid to kind of tussle up a little bit to make sure we're making the sorts of investments that matter. And that includes my personal investment, the mayor's personal investment, members of the delegation, to make sure there is a commuter rail that's active and surrounded by vibrancy in this city. That's the least you should expect from us. We're committed to roll up our sleeves to figure out how we get it done. And I'll wrap up because you really want to hear from this guy. He really is a superstar. Look, we really believe that great cities don't happen by accident. It does take this shared, aligned commitment to ensuring that we're doing our best to create the environment for capitalism to grow and thrive, to ensure that we're thinking about all the people, our most vulnerable residents as well. I think we can have our cake and eat it too when it comes to things like education and housing and transportation. And as we think about the rich history of our cities and frankly our Commonwealth, you know, it's an important milestone. In 2026, we're going to celebrate the 250th anniversary of American independence, right? 1776, amazing time frame. Massachusetts led that spirit. We're the troublemakers. They're through the tea in the harbor. We're the individuals, regular people, not unlike the people in this room, farmers, merchants, who put their hand up and risked life and limb in support of self-governance and democratic freedoms. It was unheard of. There was no model or no playbook, but it was Massachusetts residents who led that way. And John Adams, who authored most of that declaration. We know we have a revolutionary spirit here. We know we're not afraid to tackle hard challenges. In fact, that's what we do in Massachusetts. So as we're thinking about 2026 and the grand party and celebrating that rich history, we're also going to throw a nod to what's our gift to the next generation? What's going to happen in the next 250 years? And frankly, that's where all of you come in. Because the work you do day in and day out to make this city better, to impact the lives of people, to support a thriving workplace, to ensure that we've got equal education, to ensure that we're building that infrastructure that leads to a vibrant communities, that's what happens in buildings like this. So congratulations on all the hard work, and thank you to the mayor for giving me a few minutes to brag about you and the work that's going on in Lynn. I'm really proud to serve alongside you in this role. Looking forward to see all the great work that Lynn's going to continue to do over the years ahead. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, for being here this evening and sharing those kind words with all of us. Our community is deeply thankful. We know you have a busy schedule, so thank you. I also want to remind folks, if anyone needs interpretation, again, si alguien necesita interpretación en español, pueden hablar con Alan aquí afuera de las puertas. Before I invite the man of the hour up here, I'd like to share a few words about Mayor Jared Nicholson. I've had the pleasure to see firsthand the mayor's deep commitment to improving the lives of our residents and fostering a vibrant, thriving city. He works tirelessly to ensure that our city continues to grow and prosper. He always makes time, even when there is none, making sure he speaks and connects with community. and at every opportunity he has. It has truly been inspiring to witness this kind of leadership, especially as someone that grew up in this community. I am honored to call him our mayor. Please join me in welcoming our fearless leader, our mayor, Jared C. Nicholson.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Faustina, for that introduction. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor, for joining us this evening. We're thrilled to have you here. Deeply appreciate the partnership of the Haley Driscoll administration and are honored to have you here and work together. Thank you to the Lynn City Council for hosting us this evening. It's a privilege to work with you as colleagues, and I really appreciate all of you being here and our work together year round. So thank you so much to the Lynn City Council. Good evening to my colleagues on the school committee. Thank you so much for being here. Our legislators, the state delegation, who's here, Representative Armini Reed Cahill, thank you so much for being here. Representatives from our federal delegation, Sheriff Coppinger, city school officials, many members of our boards and commissions. Thank you all so much for being here. And to all our guests, thank you for being here. Gracias a todos por estar aquí. I'd like to especially thank my wife, Catherine, who's here. My sons, Henry and Benjamin. Henry is here with his excavator, and Benjamin is not here at the moment. He's been selected to give the toddler response to the state of the city. So we'll be seeing that later. Also, my parents are here. Thank you both, Mom and Dad. I'd also like to thank my staff and really the entire team working for the city of Lynn for all that you do. Thank you so much. I'd like to share a particular thank you on this frigid evening to all of our first responders, as well as the many volunteers we have this evening. We're actually in the extreme cold opening an additional emergency warming center tonight at the First Church of the Nazarene on Eastern Ave with the support of the Public Health Department. So I want to thank all our first responders and volunteers. The state of the city is ready. We're ready for this to be Lynn's time. We've known all along that this is a truly great community whose strengths are too often undercounted, and that we could be even greater with the right support. Collectively, we've put in the work. The foundation has been laid and the shovels are in the ground. We're hitting our stride. We're ready for the city's opportunities to become actual improvements in the lives of our residents. At the same time, we're ready to be a force for good in a time of uncertainty. Ready doesn't mean knowing exactly what the future holds, or even avoiding challenge and hardship. Ready is having the right team in place, the right plans in place, and having confidence in our commitment to our values. We're ready for the infrastructure projects that we've been diligently advancing to start bearing fruit. There are major projects that you've seen that are already done. Blossom Street, you've noticed, extends directly across the Lynnway to our wonderful ferry terminal. The new Linfield Street was a long time coming and looks terrific. And several other roadways are in various stages of construction and planning. And in the meantime, we set a record last year for the amount of roadway paved in a single year. Saying we're ready for change is sometimes a nicer, more polite way of saying that we're sick and tired of the status quo. But I'm just going to say that we're sick and tired of a dirty King's Beach. We're ready to try something new this summer with a temporary ultraviolet pilot treatment system, which we'll be asking the Swampscott Select Board to support, and which, if it works, would make the beach swimmable this summer. We know it's time to do things differently, and we're ready to try new ideas. We're ready to enjoy the beautiful new parks that we've opened. The playgrounds at Lynn Woods, Kiley Park, Berry Park, Cook Street Park all opened last year. And this year, we'll be ready to open a new Keeney Park, Gallagher Playground, and McManus Turf Field. And we'll keep going. Next on the list for a major overhaul is Sagamore Street Park. And we're ready to deliver these parks in a way that's much more inclusive, with all these new playgrounds being handicap accessible. We're ready to reclaim our waterfront. This summer, we'll open Lynn's Harbor Park, more than 20 acres of beautiful landscaping and breathtaking views of the harbor. And what was once literally a dump will have been transformed into a place for recreation and a point of pride for our residents. We're ready to continue the momentum that we have on the waterfront generally to capitalize on one of the most important development opportunities in Greater Boston, while making sure it stays true to our own community. We do that with teamwork and planning, so I'd like to thank the whole team driving forward the South Harbor Implementation Plan. We're ready for a cleaner city. The new barrels all over our parks, playgrounds, parking lots have been a great success, but clearly we need to do more. We're launching a downtown beautification initiative this spring in partnership with the council, local businesses, with the school committee, all our stakeholders to get more eyes and hands on the street. We're ready to continue to make the most of limited resources. Our fiscal discipline has been paying off. I'd like to recognize and thank my predecessor and former Mayor Tom McGee. Who put us in a tremendous place as we have continued to work forward. And this past year, we exited state fiscal oversight as a significant sign of strength. Our bond rating was upgraded and then affirmed the last issuance, and we'll continue that fiscal discipline in 2025, being careful stewards of taxpayer funds, as well as aggressive in the pursuit of outside grants. And a great example of that is the energy manager we'll be hiring in 2025, which is funded by National Grid through a federal grant. That person is going to help us make our buildings more energy efficient, which will help the environment as well as be good for our budget. We're ready to finally bring city governance into the 21st century, including formalizing our capital planning process. The City Council and I appointed a charter review commission for the first time in decades. And this joint commission put forward some good government, common sense reforms that I support. And I hope and expect the council to send those recommendations to me so that we can send them to our partners in the legislature for approval and implementation. Our new capital planning process will give us more visibility and therefore better control of our long-term goals and spending. It coincides nicely with the creation of our capital projects unit, which moves the folks overseeing our long-term construction projects out of our inspectional services department and into its own dedicated unit. This will allow for ongoing preparation and implementation of a robust capital plan, something that all high-functioning cities need. We're also ready to come together and support one another in difficult moments. We've made tremendous strides in making city government more welcoming. City Hall better reflects the community we serve, both in the diversity of our personnel and our ability to deliver services in multiple languages. We saw this progress noted in an equity audit that we completed last year thanks to a state grant, And during this audit, community members touted our inclusive values, progress in language access, inclusive hiring, and community building. And I want to thank the entire city team that works tirelessly each day in service of our community. We're ready to continue that work. We have a major community event coming this spring for our 175th anniversary of becoming a city, which will turn on the fountain at the historic Lynn Commons. We'll continue that this summer with the return of our summer kickoff festival, which 5,000 people attended last year, and into the fall with the 4th annual Lynn Side Out Festival and our annual Halloween and holiday festivities. Bringing people together and making positive connections between residents and their city hall help us build the kind of strong community that supports us all. We're ready to support particular communities to whom we have a special obligation. Our seniors will have a refurbished, expanded senior center later this year as the renovation completes. Visit any day, and you'll see yourself firsthand the power of community to offer essential services while providing joy and connection for all who seek it. Our veterans who fought for our freedom deserve our unending gratitude. Thanks to the initiative of the Veterans Council, 2025 will see the renaming of Heritage Park to become Veterans Memorial Park, just steps from the Gold Star Families Bridge. Thank you. We're ready for the state to finally deliver on their transit promises. The Lieutenant Governor was entirely accurate. That's happened in a real way with the restoration and extension of our ferry service, which I know we all greatly appreciate. And you see that in the numbers. The ridership last season was more than 40,000. Wow. Working with our state delegation, we're still waiting and pushing for major improvements at the MBTA garage site. The state of repair of that facility, which has accumulated over many, many years, is outrageous. We need parking to continue to support the downtown, and we deserve it to be maintained with respect for our residents. We're excited about the opportunity for redevelopment in conjunction with the preservation of a significant amount of parking and appreciate the Healy-Driscoll administration and the MTA for taking this on. We have the same urgency and long building frustration with the efforts to rebuild our commuter rail station and electrify the rail line. And we appreciate the T's work on these projects as well. When they are done, we will have near rapid transit like every other region in Greater Boston. Lynn has been left out for too long. And remember, when we say we are ready for change, it's a nicer way of saying that we're sick and tired of the status quo. Amen. So I'm going to say we're ready for the transit service that we deserve. We're ready to strengthen public safety. Our fire department does excellent work keeping us safe, and they deserve facilities that are up to the task. We have upgraded fire station HVAC systems around the city and are continuing a major renovation of the Fayette Street Station. Last year, we got 2 new engines and a ladder, and another two engines are coming this year, and we deeply appreciate the wonderful work of our firefighters. I also want to point out specifically that we are ready to hire more police officers. Our officers do heroic work every day to keep us safe, and we need more of them. We have 13 recruits going to the next academy, and if you know someone who's like our officers, someone who's brave, someone who's community-minded, please tell them to sign up for the civil service test before the next deadline, January 28th. We're ready to continue to grow the team of people tackling gang violence. Under the State Shannon Grant, we've added new partners in the Lynn Housing Authority, as well as Justice Resource Institute, to continue to provide extra support with the goal of violence prevention. We're ready to make big investments to combat the opioid crisis. We've laid the groundwork for spending the opioid settlement funds, gathering extensive input from diverse perspectives, and starting to award grants to learn what's possible. And this learning and investment will continue in 2025. We're ready for the next generation to enter the workforce. Last year, we made a bold commitment to offer a job to every young person who applied. Interest soared, and we followed through, tripling the size of our summer jobs program. And we're preparing for another big year this summer. We're ready to continue to take City Hall and our message of peace through engagement to the streets. Last year, we went door to door with city volunteers around Commercial Street, Veterans Village, and the Highlands, and our next community canvass will be this spring around Flax Pond. We're ready to launch the city's unarmed response team, the Lynn Com team. This new team will help us tackle mental health issues and further racial justice. We've already made the first hires and will be launching the pilot this spring. We're ready to respond to whatever comes out of Washington. We don't know yet what that will be, but we are a welcoming, inclusive community. We'll support our residents regardless of immigration status, regardless of gender, regardless of who you voted for. We'll fight for our values and one another. That's been my commitment from day one, a Lynn for all of us. We're ready to continue the hard work to address the housing crisis that continues to hurt so many of our residents. The inclusionary zoning policy we implemented with the council's help is expected to create units this year for Lynn residents. This year, we can also implement the housing stability ordinance that the council passed last fall that will give us some of the best tenant support in the Commonwealth by making sure all tenants are notified of their rights. We're ready to break ground on 3 important projects that we've supported extensively. Extremely low-income housing at the Hennessy House on Andrews Street in partnership with the Lynn Housing Authority. Veterans housing at the Lynn Armory, again with Lynn Housing. And senior housing at the Solomini House at the former Union Hospital site. All will break ground this year. We're ready to do even more, having invested several $1 million in projects with American Rescue Plan Act funds, Affordable Housing Trust funds that will unfold in the coming years, creating, over the course of those projects, another 565 affordable units. We're ready to overhaul our zoning ordinance to make sure it matches the readiness for positive, balanced growth that's articulated in the Vision Lynn Master Plan. We're ready for our residents to get better access to high-paying jobs. We're a hardworking city, full of hardworking residents. But too many of our residents struggle to afford to live despite how hard they work. A lot in the world has to change to fix that. But one strategy that's in our control is workforce development. We've launched the Lynn Workforce Collaborative to formalize the city's approach to workforce development. We want to grow programs like the adult education happening at Lynn Tech and the English classes happening at Washington Elementary. We want to get our residents into the high-paying jobs that exist, which is why Lynn Tech added a shop in biotech this year. It's why next year, Tech is adding another shop in construction craft laborers to make sure that the development is happening in Lynn and the region includes our own community members. Those and other additions that LPS has made at Lynn Tech have increased capacity there by 25%. Tech schools around the state, including Lynn Tech, have become oversubscribed. And here in Lynn, we are ready to do something about it and have made a significant dent in the annual waitlist. Speaking of education, we're ready for the facilities our students deserve district-wide. For years, our classroom sizes have swollen beyond what's reasonable or fair for our students and educators. We were tired of waiting on an outdated and inequitable school building system and ready to take action ourselves. We're doing exactly that by creatively and effectively opening new schools and repurposing existing buildings. Working together, we purchased the former Eastern Bank headquarters on Market Street last year, and now we're ready to transform those offices into classrooms and double the size of the Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy. That acquisition will also allow us to open a new pre-K center at Bennett Street by moving offices to the bank building, continuing our momentum to increase access to education in those vitally important early years. And it will also allow us to open a new arts and science themed high school at Fecht O'Leary, moving the amazing programs offered in that building currently to new spaces at the bank and repurposing the old classical building. None of this is possible without a lot of teamwork, creative thinking, and determination. And I want to thank all of our educators, the superintendent and her team, our students, families, facility staff, everyone involved for their hard work and collaboration. By the way, we're also ready for a new Pickering Middle School. This year, we broke ground on the brand new state-of-the-art school, a product that has been a decade in the making, and expect it to be ready for students 2 years from now in 2027. That will help our schools do their jobs in making sure our young people are ready to live complete and fulfilling lives. Being ready implies that you've done the work physically and mentally to prepare. Walk around the city and see the hammers that are swinging. For example, at the new Virginia Barton Educational Center at Briar Cliff, which is opening in February. Or the GAR building, which is under renovation downtown. Or crack open our many planning documents like Vision Lynn, the city's first master plan, or the Lynn Public Schools' new strategic plan, or our $11 million federally funded Safe Streets for All traffic safety improvement plan. And you'll see that we're ready in the sense that we're doing the work physically and mentally to prepare. But no one can predict the future. Being ready for anything that comes, also implies that your heart is full of courage and love. One of the notable aspects of being mayor is becoming aware of some of the city's hardest moments. And after 3 years, I can absolutely assure you that Lynn's heart is full of courage and love. From the police officer who saves a stabbing victim with an improvised tourniquet, to the firefighter who reverses an overdose, from the librarian who calms a disquieting patron, to the teacher who intervenes in a dangerous situation, from the community organizer who helps a family avoid homelessness, to the business owner who pours everything she has into a new venture. I see that your hearts are full of courage and love, and I know that the state of our city is ready for a bright future, whatever comes our way. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening. Buenas noches.
Way under.